don't feel like we knew that much about Jack or Connor in that respect. And also, I feel like Connor's like a regular teenager, so he's like presumably in his teens, and Jack is like
3.
A baby.
He's a baby. He's just in a grown body. But I feel like Jack's might be words of affirmation or acts of service.
Ooh, words of affirmation, I understand. Acts of service is interesting to me. Let's get into that.
A lot like Sam and Cass, I feel like Jack feels really out of step and out of place, so he also, like Sam, needs that reassurance that someone... I meant to say this with Cass as well, with Cass, is that Cass also needs to be told that he's doing good.
Right. Oh, yes, absolutely.
He really does.
Because he's always screwing up, and that's another way that I think Dean just doesn't communicate well with both Sam and Cass, because they need that more direct form of communication. Because the two of them always feel like they've screwed up, and a lot of times they have. Right. And they always feel like they've specifically disappointed Dean, and Dean's not good at reassuring them that they haven't.
Exactly. Yeah. And, like, especially for Cass, like, now that you said it, I'm thinking of so many examples where Cass has reached out and asked for that, like, straight up.
And tried to just be like, please tell me that I'm doing the right thing. Exactly. Or even just in general. In the man who, back to the man who would be king.
The man who would be king,
tell me, give me a sign that I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, the entire narration style was Cass seeking words of affirmation.
Right. And back to the divorce arc as well. Like, in season 15, he literally got to a moment where whenever he and Dean, it was before the prayer scene, but they were in purgatory and they were walking, and Dean was like, well, if you hadn't just upped and left us, subtle nod back to the Dean and abandonment issues, but if you hadn't just upped and left us, and Cass was like, you weren't giving me an option to stay, I needed to know that you would move on past this, but you wouldn't, and you wouldn't let me. Like, so I think that was another moment where he was reaching out and saying, I need you to tell me that I'm doing better, but because you weren't, I had to leave. And like, that, wow, that's just another moment that I think ties into that.
And so I think Jack has a lot of that from, I mean, who knows if that's just from himself or if that's from Sam and Cass being his dads.
Right.
But I think a lot of it is that he feels like Sam feels like I could be doing something, I could be bad. Like, my inherent nature might be that I'm bad.
Oh, that always breaks my heart.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know, me too. So he needs reassurance that he's good and that someone loves him. But also I feel like Jack only feels like he has self-worth through what he can offer to other people.
Yes! Oh my god, this is like a big thing about Jack's character that I talk about nonstop.
When he doesn't have powers, he feels useless and like he's a burden.
Yes.
And like when he does have powers, he's like, well, what's the good of having them if I can't use them to help people?
Yes.
So I feel like, a lot of his is those two things. Free birth, like Cass is his main like parental influence aside from Kelly. But once he's born, there's a period where Sam is his main parental figure. And I feel like so much of Sam rubbed off on him in that short amount of time.
Oh,
absolutely.
Where Sam's like, you can use these things for good. Because I think part of that comes from the fact that Sam thought he had powers that he was using for good and he wasn't. He actually used them to start the apocalypse.
Oh my god, yes.
And he just like wants for Jack so badly for them to be good. And I feel like he really put so much effort into that I feel like that like shaped Jack's ability to feel affection. I don't think Sam meant to put that on Jack necessarily.
Right.
But I think that shaped the fact that Jack's like, well, if I'm not good and if I don't feel like I'm good and if I don't use my powers to help people, then I'm not good and I'm not worthy of love or affection.
Yes.
Which I feel like wasn't Sam's intention, but it's just like a byproduct of how things happened.
And it's also like, I feel like Cass feels the same way a lot of the time.
Yes.
Like, especially with the way Dean treats him. So I wonder if like, and of course,
I think that was also shaped by the fact that the like whole first 2 seasons that Cass was with them was Sam also on this blood drinking storyline where Dean was like, if you turn evil, you're not like worthy, or if you do something that's bad, then you're not worthy of my love or affection.
Yeah, you're not my brother.
Yeah.
So Cass kind of got that message.
Yeah, I think that they shaped Cass a lot with that too. Oh, poor freaking Sam. I actually love Sam drinking the blood story. I think that the demon blood storyline is a really good storyline for Sam. I actually love it, but it makes me feel so much for him.
Yeah,
I feel bad for him.
It hurts my soul to watch because this is what made me think that I was Sam coded in the beginning. Was Sam's always like being the black sheep of the family, always feeling like that and stuff, and it hurts me so much to see him always feel like he's the outcast, and that's a bad thing. When in reality, I think the things that make him an outcast of the family, not falling into the same, toxic thing with John and Dean, or wanting to go out and do something that isn't hunting. Things like that would label him as the black sheep of the family that would be used negatively against him are actually good.
Those aren't the things that make you the black sheep of the family in the normal family. I have a very different career path than my family has, so I kind of felt that way too. So I think I identified a lot with Sam with that, as well as I highly value emotional sensitivity and intelligence, but also just intelligence in general I highly value. So I feel like I also felt like I was Sam coded for the first several seasons, and then once Dean has more of a character development, Dean's emotional intelligence actually is super high.
Oh, for sure.
That's true.
I have a few more characters I want to talk about. I think I'm going to leave Bobby till the end, because I feel like I have more to say about Bobby than some of the other ones on this list, and I feel really confident in my Bobby assessment, but I'm open to more suggestion on some of my other ones.
Good, because I have some thoughts about Bobby.
Let's talk about Rowena.
Rowena, my queen!
My queen, oh my god. I can never meet Ruth. Ruth, if you're out there and this podcast blows up at some point and you hear this somehow, know that I love you, but we can never be in close proximity to one another. I will embarrass myself beyond.
I think you just become a giggling mess.
I think that her love language is receiving and giving gifts.
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing!
Yeah, that is really in character.
I mean, she obviously highly values knowledge and power and being given things that improve that for her.
Yes.
And also she rewards a lot of people with things that extend their lives.
Exactly, yeah.
Oscar and Ketch, she both extended their lives. She made Oscar freaking immortal. She gave Ketch the do-over button.
Right.
Yep.
Do-over button.
I couldn't think of a good way to phrase that in the moment.
And especially in the later seasons when she's no longer villainized, we see her a lot more just give the boys things that they need, helpful and other things. And she's always willing to give that, and she's always willing to help them out, especially when it gets to Jack. I feel like she definitely felt like she had adopted Jack a little bit, and she referred to herself a lot of times as Auntie Rowena and stuff like that.
Oh my god, I love Auntie Rowena's my favorite Rowena.
Yes.
I just think that's going to be so much fun to watch, just this doting aunt.
Yes, and at first she was a little skeptical, but then she adored Jack.
Yeah, she was
absolutely adored him.
What do you mean this kid is Lucifer's?
Yeah, right? At first she was why is he alive? And then she was oh my gosh, this amazing child, he's mine now. But especially anytime Jack's name got mentioned, she was willing to give anything.
Yeah.
She was just yep, what do you need from me? I got you covered. You need a spell? You need
this, you need that,
bag? I got you.
I love that they created this character that can just be such a great villain, but she also has such a great capacity for love.
Yes! Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And I think she cares a lot about Sam and Dean too, but Sam in particular.
Absolutely. 100%.
She's just very selective with who she gives her love to.
If Eileen didn't exist, I feel like I would ship Sam and Rowena a bit more, but Eileen exists, so.
Obviously, Eileen. But Sam, would have 100% been an amazing witch. I don't know if that's just a natural thing because demon blood or whatever. Maybe he's just more inclined to it. But
I think Sam is more inclined towards the supernatural arts type stuff.
Yes.
Also, yeah, he has the psychic demon blood powers. Also, he's into the studying and the research and
exactly.
One of the ways you can get witchcraft is by not having any natural ability for it, but just learning it.
Yep, and I think he would have had both. So he would have probably been one of the best witches out there.
If we're gonna talk about Rowena, we might as well talk about Crowley.
Yes.
Who I think has a similar love language.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
every time he does something for someone, he's always expecting something back.
Yeah. I think he does sometimes just give them shit, though.
He does. He really does. And he pretends he doesn't, but he so does.
Definitely acts of service.
Yeah, like Mara said, he is by nature a crossroads demon. He trades in giving things in exchange for other things.
Right.
But he fixed Bobby's spinal cord basically for free. It's the big first one that I can really off the top of my head name.
Very true.
He did something for Bobby and also fixed his legs pretty much on the house because Bobby was gonna sell his soul just for the the thing that he got out of it. it in the first place. But he didn't even think to ask for that. I'm sure if I thought more about it, I could think of another example.
Right. I know there's like several, but I can't, like, they're bubbling in my brain, but I can't like bring them to the surface.
It's like a combination of acts of service and gift giving.
Absolutely.
Which is what I feel like we've landed on what Rowena's kind of was as well.
Right.
With her gift giving comes acts of service because of the nature of her as a witch.
Absolutely.
She can provide spells and magical solutions to problems.
I feel like they do that a lot with characters they initially establish to be really selfish.
Yeah,
that's so true.
I don't have a lot else to say about Crowley, so I don't know. I want to talk about Jodie.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My love. I don't know. I feel like Jodie is his quality time.
I think she's also kind of a physical touch sort of person.
Yeah, she's quick to hug and like maybe a little bit acts of service as well.
Yeah,
acts of service like combined with quality time, kind of like how Dean is, and then also physical touch. Putting the blanket on you when you fall asleep on the couch, or like making family meals and having family meals together, or like just cooking for the kids all the time. Like,
and like she would randomly come over to Bobby's.
Yeah, and like bring him
quality time.
Yeah. And she would bring food, which is an act of service.
Yeah, so hers kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like that's where Jodie lives. I totally forgot about her to think about her with Bobby like at all. This one we don't have a lot for, but Donna, I want to talk about Donna.
Donna! Okay, I think she's definitely a words of affirmation person.
I agree.
That is like my headcanon, and she is absolutely a words of affirmation person.
Yeah, because she's like gutted by the things that her husband says to her. She really takes those to heart.
I know.
Absolutely. And she's always quick to be affirmative to everyone.
Yeah.
Anytime there's like someone who's in a situation, she's quick to like affirm them.
Yeah, like assure them that they're good or that they can fix things, so that they'll do things. I love Donna so much.
That's so nice.
Is there any characters besides Bobby that anybody want to talk about that we didn't talk about?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to, but I was just thinking a little bit like, what about Balthazar? Because there was a moment someone was talking about, but I can't think. Like, I don't know. I guess I would have to say maybe gift giving, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Okay, let me think about this for like 1 second.
I know.
Running through
unless he came back, I thought Balthazar was only a few episodes.
He is only a few episodes.
He's not a big character, but someone said something that made me think like, oh, Balthazar, but I can't remember what it was that was said. So I don't even have like the train of thought to remember.
Maybe it was when we were talking about Crowley and Rowena.
Maybe. I did leave Charlie intentionally off my list.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't know what to say about her, and
I feel like she does all of them in very different ways.
Yeah, I feel like Charlie's just so good. Charlie is really adaptable, I think. Yes. But I feel like Charlie will adapt to whatever yours is. Like if yours is physical touch, then she'll be physically affectionate with you. But if you're not physically affectionate, I feel like she wouldn't be.
Yeah, I feel like naturally, I think physical touch is one for her, but I can't think of like what her second one would be because there's just so many that like she does at so many different times.
Maybe words of affirmation for her.
Right. And I was thinking about that because, like,
especially with the boys, like,
she has little pep talks with them, like, all the time.
And she, like, really helps them sort their shit out and, like, talks them through stuff. And, like, it's like, well, she gives Sam, like, a little pep talk that's like, well, in the Supernatural books, like, there was nothing you couldn't do. Like, I know that you're gonna be fine. Like, the trials aren't gonna kill you.
Oh,
I was gonna say acts of service, but, like, words of affirmation really works
I feel like words of affirmation might be it. Let's talk about Bobby, because I love him so much. Bobby's is, I feel like, a pretty even combination of quality time and acts of service.
Yeah, because he's always doing things for everyone without expecting anything in return.
Always.
If it wasn't for season 7, episode 10, I would have said acts of service and left it at that. But I think season 7, episode 10 really emphasized the quality time.
Absolutely.
There's 2 big things that happen in that episode that we see. I mean, that's the episode where we're in Bobby's head as he's, like, dying, and it's unfortunate. Right. He's playing catch with Dean, which is the offense for which he and John fell out over.
Yep.
And he lost access to the boys.
That makes me so mad.
Spending time with the boys doing normal things, like just playing catch and stuff. And then his very, very last memory. It's just the boys having a run-of-the-mill movie night at his place, arguing over what they're gonna watch and what snacks they're gonna eat. It's nothing eventful casual. It's not an occasion. They're just having a night off and they're watching a movie and they're like bickering with each other. And that's his last memory. And he literally says, well, at least I saved the best for last. That to me, those two things that were like, okay, quality time.
Absolutely. And it hurts so much to like, I hated that, the way that ended that episode. Anyway.
Like, hated it. Hated it
like,
because it brought us so much pain.
Right. I loved most of the episode until like the very end because I think it gave a very important insight to Bobby's character. But absolutely with like acts of service and quality time, like his whole like quote unquote like unofficial business is just acts of service to